Good morning, my friend. Good morning. What is going on, everybody watching? This is Stylist from the back room. Love that intro.
That's awesome.
I've had so much fun with that intro.
That thing is brings back a lot of memories. Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing today? Eddie, how's your week going?
I'm telling you, man. Okay, so the week before I told you I'm having a good week. Last week I told you I'm having a good week, right? So I'm just having a good month. So no, I'm just trying to see.
A good month is the way to go. I like that. I like the positivity. That's infectious. It's very infectious.
It's very infectious. Now I'm just a nervous wreck. What's coming? The pessimist in me says, "What's coming?"
You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is that what it is? Is that the term? That's a term, correct?
Right.
Well,
that's so funny.
Should we get into it, or you got anything on your agenda that you want to touch before I take over the reins here?
Wow, what you got?
I got a lot of stuff for you today. We got a great hour for everybody. I'm really excited for some of the subjects that we have today. Actually, for all of them. We're going to start with an article that I read in GCI magazine, and it's about the beauty industry. It's about the product industry itself. The beauty industry is prioritizing. Someday both of us are going to learn English really well. Prioritizing natural ingredients to help minimize exposure for both the client and the stylist to harsh chemicals. They've done a lot of focus groups. I forget. I didn't write down the number, and I apologize to everybody for that, for exactly how many people they spoke with. But what they found is that consumers are becoming more aware of the harm synthetic chemicals have on both them personally and the environment, and they're starting to get a lot of pushback about wanting more natural ingredients, more and more eco-conscious ingredients, which I think is huge. That kind of plays exactly into what both of us stand for. You know, a lot of the products we both use are either organic or have a lot of natural ingredients and aren't super harsh. So I found that article, and I got really excited to share that with everyone, because this is what we're going to be seeing. This is what we're going to have clients pick up that product and go, oh, okay, what's in it? Everybody reads labels now. If you've ever walked down the aisle in the grocery store, you got people standing there reading labels more and more now, because they're very conscious about what they're taking into their body and what they're putting on their body.
It's very, very interesting. We have seen this trend year over year now, strong over a full decade. And people are just becoming more conscious about what's going on. And there is a lot more information available publicly out there. There's a lot more knowledge available. We're learning, we're evolving as a society. In my opinion, I think this is a little bit of a renaissance in our industry to this past decade, because we have gotten a lot of technological advances in products, especially in hair color, especially in treatments, where for a long time, the chemical service aspect or the side of our industry has just been doing the same thing over and over and over, So we've had a lot of treatments that have come out. We've had a lot of additives that have come out, but real breakthroughs in actual core technology in the services that we've been providing,
right?
It's been kind of stale for the past 20 years. So this past 10 years, this past decade, it's been absolutely amazing. I love that the consumers always used to complain. Like, a client would always come in and say, oh, my hair's messed up, I don't know what's going on. And it would be up to us to say, well, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, right? And then it would just be this constant back and forth, or this resistance. I don't know, do I really need to? I never heard of that before. Now, with, like you're saying, with these consumer reports and these surveys and stuff like that, the clients are actually asking for stuff like that. And now that they're now that they're more knowledgeable, openly knowledgeable, and the information is more openly out there, when we're explaining things to them and they go back and research it and look it up themselves, it's falling right in line with everything we're explaining, which is an absolute win all the way around. Everybody involved. That's a great, man. That's a great article that you found.
Yeah, it was very informative. I you know me, I go digging and I fall down rabbit holes big time. Number 2 on the list for today is, are you ready for this?
What you got?
Fishtail braids are going to be a hot thing come spring, summer for us.
I love the fishtail braid.
Oh, right? Right?
What's the easiest way to describe it?
It's the easiest braid, really, if you think about it.
Wasn't that the one in the Game of Thrones that you watch?
Did she have a fishtail braid? I'll have to look it up.
Didn't she have one in one of the seasons?
I think so. But that was a lot of extensions on her.
Doesn't matter.
You know, that's
the beauty of hair extensions. It can fill in enough hair so you could be able to create that.
Right.
You know?
Because I mean, and then there's this. I mean, not to get off on a TV rant, but there's this spin-off of that, which is House of Dragons, they're all bleach blondes. They're all this white hair. They're all these white-haired people, and it's amazing. Whoever the hairdressers are that do, kudos to them for that show, because there's a couple African Americans with bleach blonde hair. There is people that are as dark as you and I, and then the blondes are awesome. None of them are brassy or really trash. So it's cool. It's definitely cool. But the fishtail braid can complement both casual and dressy occasions, depending on what you do with it. And the best part about with the fishtail braid is you can pretty much wear it no matter what your face shape is.
You can wear it no matter what your face shape is. The thing what you were talking about, dressing up or staying kind of casual with it too.
Right.
One of my favorite things, that was the first braid that I learned that if you pull it apart a little bit, it's actually okay.
Right.
Because look, you and I come from similar educational backgrounds. If there was one hair out of place, you'd get wrapped. So it felt so good to be allowed to be messy and not get wrapped, by pulling it apart. It was so much fun.
I told you, the woman that took an interest in me, because she saw something in me that I wasn't seeing at the time when I was in beauty school. She's 5 foot nothing, little Italian lady. She wore high heels every day. And guarantee you, if I did a braid or if I wrapped a perm, she would find out where I screwed up in the braid, and she'd take that high heel and dig it into my foot. And perms, oh my God, she would always pick the roller that I had a fish hook on, and she'd make me take the whole dang thing down and do it again.
Now, unfortunately, that's not something. This braid is not one that you can do yourself to yourself, though.
No.
You need help. You need somebody to help you to do it.
Unless you've got really good dexterity. Because to be behind your head and take that all the way down, my arms don't even go that far. But that's also because I'm a gorilla and my knuckles scrape the ground when I walk. The fishtail braid.
You know the comedian Fluffy?
Yeah.
So he was doing a segment, and he says he went to get it. They're trying to arrest him. He's like, "Put your hands behind your back." He's like, "I can't reach."
Right. Right.
But no, yeah, that braid, man, that's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I love braids. I think braids are beautiful, and you can actually do some fill-ins to get braids and things like that. You are, unless you have a Susan Powder shaved head, everybody can wear some form of a braid. And last on the list is wispy bangs are trending. Wispy bangs,
Wispy bangs.
Wispy bangs are coming back. We're gonna see what was the bang that everybody was asking
Oh, the
for?
curtain bangs have been trending this past season.
Yeah, curtain bangs are on their way out, allegedly. And wispy bangs are coming back because they're very versatile. Pretty much you can put wispy bangs with almost every haircut. And very little maintenance on them. If you want to grow your wispy bangs out, it's a lot easier than trying to grow out, the curtain bang. We've seen more and more. I've seen more and more people ask when they come into the shop. I want some wisps. I want some wisps, and I've been doing a lot of face framing with them. And wispy bangs also is another thing that works with most face shapes, because wispy bangs you can either go a little heavier with them and narrow the people's faces down if you have a big pie face like mine, or you can use it to accentuate. You could use it to accentuate the high points of people's facial features. So that's what we're seeing come in trending for spring, summer, and probably into fall, according to the deep dark places that I've found on the interweb.
I think curtain bangs are going to go away. I think they're just not going to be as trendy. They're not going to be as trendy. I don't think they're just going to be being shown as often as much.
Right.
But I don't think they're necessarily going to go away. The thing what I really like about the wispy bangs, though, is it lends itself more to a side part. And I just am a personal fan of the side part, more than the middle part. Because I know the middle part has been trending, this past season really strong as well, too.
Right.
And so curtain bangs just automatically lends itself naturally to that middle part. When you have these kind of bangs, wispy bangs, side bangs, things like that, you can create a lot more detail. That lends itself more to framework,
right?
Face framing,
right?
And that is, the side part, face framing. I love that. I really, really love that.
Well,
and it leads up to my favorite cut, which is, you have those A-line bobs. And they don't have to be like the blunt ones. They don't have to be like the perfect line ones. They could be more the natural flow ones, the wispy ones. It's fun. It's just a fun cut all the way around.
Well, what I really love, especially what's been trending over the past couple of years, is people starting to wear hair that speaks about the person that's wearing the hair. There's true style coming back in. And it's not just the part in the middle and chop, to bra length or middle of their back or, whatever you want to call it. I really love the fact that that people are starting to wear hair again. It really, really, really gets me excited. And especially like, I had a girl yesterday. We cut 8.5 inches off. That was so fun. When they come in and they're like, I want to take this much off. You're like, yes, it's so much fun. You look down on the floor and you have that, your rim of hair, and you're like, yeah.
You've seen me do it a lot, where I'll chop somebody's hair off and then I'll hand it to them, or I'll throw it in their lap.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, hey, like they freak out, right? I'm like, well, there's no redoing it now. It's too late.
Right. I was, I love the fact that we're actually getting back to actually doing real, not that trimming hair isn't a real haircut. Don't yell at me, whoever's watching. But really true getting back to hair designing, where you're designing a cut for that client. And then if you're like me and you can't remember what you did yesterday, I have to get back in the habit of, with my haircuts, taking notes on my client card of what I did, because how many times we've all done it. Okay. Where the client sits in your hair and it's like, I love what you did last time. Do it again. And you're like,
Well, we write down on the client card what the last formula was. We write down what the last hair color of the extensions were. We write down, but we never write down our perm rod size if we're doing perms. We never write down what kind of haircut we did. It's interesting what we choose to track for information and what we choose not to. what we rely on memory for.
Right.
So no, there's nothing wrong with building out a full client profile and logging everything.
It was amazing to me. I was at my doctor's not a couple weeks ago, and the doctor's assistant comes in, gets on the computer, and she went all the way back to 2012 with me, and she's like, and asking me about things happening, and I can't remember what I did yesterday, and it made me realize that this is kind of the way I should be handling things too, but with my own personal businesses, at least making notes about haircuts and things like that. So,
yeah.
So, oh, thank you. I agree with you. It is boring when they just want to trim. We got a note. We got someone that said hi to us.
That's right.
So, on to our next subject, my friend. On
Saturday, I had a client came in and said to me, we're going to do a cut. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So I'm like, all right, I'm talking to her. No problem. Right. All of a sudden I'm going to part her hair. And she says to me, no, that's not my part. My part's on the other side. And I'm like, all right, yeah, your part's on the other side. No big deal. She goes, no big deal. You've been cutting my hair for this is my third or fourth haircut now. Shouldn't you remember it by now? I'm like, no, I can't. No, absolutely not. I go, remembering your part is going to be something I'm going to have to redo for forever. I'll remember how to do your color, but I'll never remember how to redo your part properly.
Right.
She goes, well, how do you remember my color? I said, I write it down. She goes, why can't you write down my part? I said, because that's a good point. I don't know. I had nothing to say to her about that, right?
See, I get the same thing. I have clients that I've been doing their hair, a couple of them, they're like, I have a longer relationship with you than I do, anybody else in my life. But you can't remember my part.
But you can't remember my part.
And I'm like, good point, I guess. That's why, I've actually upgraded my file system. I'm still old school. I still have to have that card in my hand. So I went to the bigger cards so I can make all those notes too. And especially because I change formulas all the time. And if I don't write it down, I'm doomed. And actually I put down my foil placement too.
There's nothing wrong with that. For newer stylists, I always tell them too, write down your weave pattern. Remember your weave pattern, not just your placement pattern, and say on the highlights, I took thicker weaves, and on the lowlights, I took thinner weaves, or I did baby lights the entire thing, or I did 5-strand thing, or I did a 4-strand, or whatever it is. Right. I mean, there is no rule that says how specific, detailed you have to get or how generalized you have to leave. It prevents you from having the client come back in and say, I want my hair redone again because you didn't come out right the first time. Just like how I'm going to have to start writing down the parts again because I'm tired of redoing everybody's parts all the time, when I'm going to style their hair. So
right.
It makes a huge difference. It really does make a huge difference.
Right. So that is a perfect segue into our next subject, my friend.
It's not a segue. That is the subject. It's what I've been telling you, man. Redo is not just for hair color. Okay. Redo is for anything and everything. And that's the problem. Even redoing a consultation is annoying when you have to remind somebody, because then that means they went scatterbrain and they went off the rails. They forgot everything that we're talking about doing. And then what's left? They go and complain to somebody else about it. They don't come complain to you about it. They go complain to somebody else about it. And then eventually you hear it from somebody else, or eventually they come back and say it to you. But by the time they eventually comes around and they do that, then, they've worked themselves up into something that they've worked themselves up stronger than they needed to be worked up into. Like it's something that could have been addressed immediately and nobody needed to be stressed out about it. And most of the time it's an easy fix. It's either a
Right.
miscommunication, or they're not seeing it right, or they didn't get the compliment they were expecting to get from somebody else.
You took
And now they think something's wrong with it.
you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going there with it. You know, they love it. Oh my God, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. And then someone says something to them. Oh, I liked you when you were a little bit this or a little bit that. Or I just had one. Great girl, you know, and she came in with this picture with that beach honey blonde with just highlights that frame her face. Looked great. And she even sent me a text message that night. Oh my gosh, I love it. You know? And then 2 days later, she calls me. She goes, it's red. And I'm like, red? I go, I have a pic. I can send you a picture that we took back to you. I don't see where you're getting red. My girlfriend, it wasn't her girlfriend, her sister-in-law said, oh, you went red.
Her sister-in-law don't like her.
Right? And I'm like, all right, come in, let's talk. We talked. You know, I was like, I don't see red. Show me where you see red. And she's like, well, we just have to redo it. And I'm like, okay, sure. We put some more highlights in it, and then she loved it. So, you know, and I've had clients where we've done major work, you know, they look dynamite, you know, they're prancing out of the salon. They think they're fabulous. They get home and their husbands don't notice. Or they'll say, what do you think? And he'll be like, oh, I liked it longer.
Do you charge for redos?
It depends. It depends. If it's above and beyond what we had consulted about, then yes.
Yes. Do you ever get resistance? Does a client ever start complaining to you about it?
Usually not. I mean, I've had a couple of occasions where it's like, well, I don't understand. I paid for my service, 2 days ago. I go, yeah, but the service that we just did is not the service that we did on you. You know, we met what your expectations were. That's why when clients come in with pictures, I have them send them to me on my phone. Send me that picture, would you? And I keep it, at least for a little while. Or if they come in with a magazine picture, I'm like, can I take that? And I staple it to the card. So that way I have it as a reference. But I've had a couple that have pushed back a little bit, and I'm like, I'm a small business. You know, if you have an antibiotic that doesn't work and you have to go back to your doctor, do they see you free of charge? No.
I don't go to the doctor anymore. I don't know.
No, you go.
I can't afford going back to the doctor anymore.
You go to the vet. I understand.
But that's the beauty of it. You know, it's this built-in expectation of getting something for free. And it depends how you create that environment, because this is the example I always give. If you cut somebody's bangs or face framing, I was just talking about face framing earlier. If somebody comes in and says one side's longer than the other, you're like, no big deal, because you don't think it takes that long and you just kind of do it and that's it. Or the full haircut, if one side's a little longer than the other, if it's off, you just kind of redo that real quick, If somebody comes in and says, oh, it faded a little bit sooner than it should have, then you just slap a toner on. Or if you highlight somebody and then, you do the toner after the highlight, and then afterwards they still don't like it, you're like, I'll just retone it real quick. It's always this, I'll just do it real quick and get it over with, because it's not worth arguing over, and you think, it's just like a half an ounce or an ounce of color, like no big deal. So it just builds up this expectation of, if I complain, I get this, or if I'm unsatisfied 100%, I get this, And I think a lot of stylists fall into that trap where they start getting nervous. If there's any resistance, if there's any pushback, if there's any unsatisfactory result at any degree, whether it's a minor or a major, the stylist just internally freaks out and they don't know what to do with themselves. So now they're beating themselves up above and beyond to try to right or wrong that may not necessarily even exist or may not
Right.
even be their wrong.
Right.
It's a slippery slope that, redos are annoying.
Well, redos are annoying because we all put our heart and soul into what we do, but we've all had bad days too. And from the other side of that is not from the client side of it, but from the stylist / operator, whatever you deem yourself to be. From that side of it too is, you know what? Mistakes happen. You're human. You're not a machine. They haven't replaced us with machines yet. That's coming, but they haven't replaced us with machines yet. And yeah, I guarantee you, anybody out there watching this, we've all made mistakes. We've all had goofed up haircuts. We've all misformulated on our colors. We've all, and especially missed in the temples, or those gray ones that always poke out, and you just want to take your shears but we've all been there. So that's another thing that kind of makes me crazy too and I'm, back when I was in the big salon environment, is the judgment from other stylists. Instead of people being supportive and going, hey, you know what, you had a bad day, it was, people try to make you feel like you suck, or that you're not good, you don't know what you're doing, I thought you knew how to do this service. Who are you, number one, to judge me? You're the same. You carry the same freaking license I do. Number two, last I checked, my book is way bigger than yours.
Now you're just getting angry.
Hey, well, you know what? They're going to be, but it makes me crazy when other stylists criticize their fellow stylists and when they go after them. And even if it's meant half-heartedly, we all take this so damn personally. I still, to this day, 30 years in, if I have someone that's not real happy with what I did, I kind of take it personally. And I beat myself up about it a little bit. Not to the extent that I used to be up for 2-3 days ruminating about how I would have done this different, but you still take
that's
it.
me.
You have pride in what you do.
Yeah.
If it doesn't affect you, that's a different story. But the fact that other stylists come after, will not come after you, and that's not the right word, and excuse, but will be super hypercritical. I don't ever criticize another stylist's work, ever, even if it's a gross goof up. It's, if there are people I know and I like, I'll go to them and go, hey, I got this and this happened, and try and talk it out with them and help them come to a solution to it. But to beat someone down, nah.
Well, there's always three sides. There is the person's side, there's your side, and then there's what actually happened. The circumstances, what actually occurred.
Right.
And if you only have one side of the information or two sides of the information, if you don't have all three, and if you weren't there, it's really hard to get judgy about it, right? And It's really hard to take a side about it. So it just depends on how you tactfully approach a situation if you are going to point something out to somebody. I take all criticism in stride, whether it's positive or negative. And the reason why I do that is because, like you said earlier, and I said it, I do stay up for 2-3 days. I am extremely hard on myself. If I succeed at something, I'm up for 2-3 days dissecting the living crap out of it. How did I succeed? Why? How do I keep doing that? And then if I goof something up, oh yeah, I'm still up for 2-3 days. That's why I never sleep, because I'm always up trying to think about what did I do and why did I do that, and I'm just constantly replaying everything all the time. But if you don't take those chances, and if you don't get back up, and if you don't enjoy the high moments when you succeed, and if you don't wallow in the low moments when you goof, and if you don't get yourself back up, dust yourself off, and go back to work again the next day, that is the difference. That's where you lose. Okay. So I'm not saying, oh, I'm up for 2-3 days and I'm just depressed, like, oh my God, what did I do? No, that's only about maybe 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours I do that. And then
Right.
after a few hours, I'm like, all right, man, you know what? Enough being a little baby about it.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, why did that happen? How did that happen? How am I going to approach it again next time? How am I going to prevent it from next time? What am I going to do? Like that self-motivation to do better or to stay better is really, really tricky business. Now with hair color, at the end of the day, it's hair color. You can always redo hair color. With haircuts, it's a little more difficult, but it's one of those things where with modern technology nowadays, we have hair extensions. So we get to redo it. And especially now with what's trending. Okay, here, like what's trending now with hair extensions are the WEFs. WEFT extensions are easy as hell. So, and especially it's so easy because it's a big chunk of hair. So if you goof a haircut, you pop in a weft, you're done. Immediately fix the situation. But then there's strands as well too. And whether it's a keratin strand, whether it's a flat beaded strand, especially here's a bonus with the onstage hair extensions because it's a flat beaded strand. It's reusable, so you can't even goof anything.
Right.
You could fill in anything you want, and it's free flow movement, and it's a done thing. Oh, your client. Let's break down your client since we're talking about this kind of stuff.
Who, Joanna?
I wasn't going to name her, but
she's awesome.
Tell the story of Joanna because she's the perfect example of how hair extensions is an amazing product that can fix anything, and it just builds that positivity in anybody.
Well, what we did is about a year ago, we started with, she wanted extensions, but she has finer textured hair. And she wanted long hair. She's never really had long hair. So you and I, we met with her. We head mapped it out for her. And then what we did is we gave her 18-inch extensions and we blended it into her hair. And she kept them. I mean, we did, she went through 2.5 rounds with hair. Because I still have the ones I took out yesterday out of her. She'll go back to them in the fall. She has a motorcycle. She has a boat. She doesn't want to be wrestling with her extensions over the summer. And plus, by now, we've grown her hair out, her real hair, to like just past her collarbones. It looked amazing. But that gave her the opportunity to have that. And she had some breakage and stuff from some off color.
Go back to the original thing. What was wrong with her hair that she wanted the extensions to begin with?
She could never grow it past her basically bottom of her neck. And she wanted long hair. And
what was her natural color?
Her natural color is like a 6, and then we highlight it. And we kept the highlights up, and we color matched. I remember you and me with the ring of doom, and we color matched
colors on that coloring. Yeah.
And then we went with the onstage flat wefts, and the color. There was that I don't have it, but we matched the color perfectly. It was awesome. It's been awesome. And boom, 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 extensions in and out of her hair. Not a lot of stress on that fine hair. And she learned how to take care of it. The first time we took those extensions out, I was like, "What did you do here?" and I have the the little care pamphlets that come with, and I have them in my station. And I handed her another one. I said, "Do you still have this?" And I gave you. She goes, "No." And I go, "Here." And then she learned how to take care of it. And now the ones that I took out yesterday, which is her third batch of hair, the ones I took out yesterday are still almost perfect. Almost perfect. So I wrapped them up. They're in a bag. They have her name on them. And in the fall, when she's ready to do it again, we'll put them back in.
So I remember the first set that you put in, I think they were 18-inch.
Yeah.
So it took her down to her bra strap. So she was able to extend her length from her chin, top of her shoulder. She was able to extend it down. She wanted it below her boob.
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember that. So then I remember, I don't remember, help me remember. I remember you calling me saying she was, there was something with the movement, or there was something with.
Well, she has to pull no, what it was is she has to pull her hair back for work. She can't wear her hair down. She has to have it pulled back. And the problem is with the initial installation, we did the installation for optimizing her length, but we didn't take into account, I didn't take into account that she actually had to pull it back. So those corners, and we had just taken the weft and cut it into two pieces, if you remember. And then you and I hypothesized about that. We cut it into four pieces and put it so it was easier for her to pull it back. And with the last two installs that we did on her, I mean, those extensions stayed beautifully. I mean, other than the grow out. I mean, all the clips were still in and everything. The one, it was amazing, and zero stress on the hair with that. You know, even with pulling it back.
Well, that's the beauty of the onstage weft, is that it is customizable in that way that you can cut them. You know, they're not just a full track. And that's some of the struggle with some of these weft style types of hair extensions.
Right.
They can't be cut, so you have to fold them over, and one side gets a little bit bulky. And that's one of the other nice things about it. With as fine as her hair is, you know, this is it. The hair itself has enough density, but it's not so heavy on the hair, and it lays nice and smooth. It lays nice and flat. It's lightweight, so it's that was a nice thing about it too. And you're not sewing it in. So because you're not sewing it in, it keeps it, you know, really, really flexible. And when it starts growing out, you're able to just, you know, naturally brush the hair. You can actually reach your scalp with it, you know, and when you go to redo it, when you go to reuse it, it keeps it really simplified that way as well too. So it's really nice all the way around. Yeah, making that, I remember making that change.
Right.
And I remember you calling me saying, "Oh my God, that was the world of difference for her."
It made a huge difference. Huge difference. She was so happy. And then ideally also, what I did is I changed her whole hair setup for her too, as far as what kind of hot tools she was using, brushes, etc. I got her locked in. I lent her the Ergo TT2000 blow dryer, which she loved. Which, you know, that one fell into my bag at a hair show a few years ago. I don't know how that happened. But with that blow dryer, she loves it, and she loved the shine that it gives, especially with the you know, the negative ions that blow dryer gives. The shine and the manageability of the hair is just unbelievable. And then I also I got her going on because she's a flat iron girl, so
Okay.
and I, you know, she had some flat iron that she bought at the mall from
Look,
you
let
know,
me tell you, if I don't care what type of hair you have, if the flat iron, if the hot tool that you're using does not have a temperature control on it, if you just flip the switch and it goes on and then it's hot, yeah.
well, I mean, you know, and that was one of the things is after the first, you know, with her, after the first time we did a reset, I had her bring her stuff in because I wanted to see it, because there was, you know, and with changing the way that she handles her hair, that enabled her to grow it to, you know, to down past her shoulder blades. You know, and she was like, all right, where do I get this blow dryer? And that's when I called over to you, and I'm like, all right, I need a blow dryer. You know,
What is the natural threshold of the cuticle?
I
Like, what is the natural heat resistance of human hair?
what is it? It's 180, isn't it? Or maybe I'm wrong.
180 what? Celsius? And in
Fahrenheit,
Fahrenheit.
right?
Maybe I'm not wording my question correctly. You know, the 392 Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Sorry. You threw me for a curveball with that. I was like, what? Why are you making me think?
Right? Class time with Eddie.
And you yell at me for facts and figures.
What is the natural boiling point of water in
I
Fahrenheit?
I do not know. Share with us.
212.
212. Okay.
So if moisture evaporates over 212 degrees, but the natural heat resistance of the hair shaft of the cuticle is 392 degrees.
So 450 works great, right?
450. No, like you say all the time, good is good, good is gooder.
More is gooder.
More is good. Yeah, good is good, more is gooder.
So, well, since we're talking about temperatures, so then with the TT 2000, you know the heat settings for that, right?
No.
Ha! I got you with facts now. So on the first heat setting is 145 degrees. The second heat setting is 289.
Wow. Okay.
So
That would be medium setting.
medium is what, well, there's the 0 setting on it, which is 0 temperature. Then
That's like a
there's
cold
the
shot. That's like a
medium
cool shot.
Yeah. The medium setting is 145 and the high setting is 289.
Oh, so even at max temperature, it's only 289 degrees?
289. Because with that negative ion generator that it has, it pushes the moisture out of the hair more than evaporates the moisture.
So when somebody has thin, fine hair, then which setting should they be using?
The 145.
But
Right?
then how long are you going to sit there waiting for your hair to heat up, John?
Well, but Eddie, with the fact of that it has the ion generator and it pushes moisture out of the hair, why would you take thin, fine, nothing hair and smoke and cook the crap out of it?
Well, but if it's low temperature, how is it going to cook the crap out? Like, how's it going to get overheated?
It won't. That's the point.
Whoa. But this is what happens. People think if they put the blow dryer closer, it'll get hotter. And then people think if they got the round brush in there and then they put the blow dryer into it, that'll get even steam, then the smoke's coming off of it and it's even steaming, right?
No. If you're steaming hair, if you are steaming, okay.
You dream.
Can Carmelita bring me some Tylenol like you were talking about last week?
I knew that was going to get you so good. I knew that was going to get you so good.
You know what?
When
I quit. I quit. That's it. You're on your
when
own.
you're using a round brush and here's a public service announcement. When you're using a round brush, all right, and the round brush is vented, when the reason why it's vented is because air has to flow through those vents. When you've got hair wrapped around it 13 times and there's just a big wad of hair around that round brush, air can't vent through. And then when you got the blow dryer directly into the round brush because you're trying to really get it smooth, what's happening is that air that's trying to flow out of the blow dryer is pushing back into the blow dryer. It's recycling in there, reheating, and then pushing back out again. But it's pushing back out again into nothing, into a wall. So it has to push back in. The air's got to go somewhere. And if it's got nowhere to go, it's going to go back where it came from, which is pushing it back out again. So you're just like in this vicious cycle of recycling hot air, hotter. And you could get upwards of 500 degrees, 550 degrees almost, is what I've learned. So you're basically baking, no, not even. What would you cook in an oven at 500 degrees?
Nothing.
All right. Well, then.
Body.
There you go. It's how you cremate your hair, people. And this is why everybody's got frizz fried hair. This is why you got all the static and all the flyaways and all the insanity. So if you
Okay.
have thin, fine hair, that's why they have that lower temperature. Use the technology to like you're explaining. Use the technology to dry your hair out. All right. So then when do you go up to the higher? Like at what type of hair texture do you start using the higher temperature, that 289?
Well, with thicker, coarser hair.
So if I run my hand through my hair and I have a lot of hair, does that just mean I have thick, coarse hair?
It would depend on really analyzing your hair. Just running your hand through it doesn't tell you what it is. You have
Well,
to
then how
look
am I
at the
supposed
hair.
to? I'm not a nerd.
Well, but you're a hairstylist, and you
What if
know.
I'm not?
Well, you are.
No, I'm saying for the people that are watching this that are
For the
not a
people.
hairstylist, what's an
What you
easy way to know if you have a coarse hair or you just have a lot of hair?
what you really have to do is think about it. If you take, let me look real quick if I have
I'm
one
really
here.
throwing curveballs at you over
Yeah,
here
I'm
now.
a pain in the butt. If you take your normal pencil, here, wait, there it is. Your normal pencil. See that? See your pencil eraser?
Who even has a pencil nowadays? Everything's digital.
Okay, you got to have a pen.
No, I have a stylus for my
clients-
phone.
Even better. You got a dime in your pocket? Do you have a dime?
What's a dime?
Yeah, chooch. You have a pinky. How about the diameter of your pinky, Eddie?
Okay.
And you look at a diameter section of the hair of your client or your hair.
Okay.
And you look and you just kind of guesstimate at, is there a bunch of hair in that diameter or is there not many follicles in the diameter?
So
Number
you want
one.
us to pull a pinky amount of hair out of
Not
our
pull
head?
it. Take a look. You have a mirror. Oh no, you don't, because you're
I
a
do
vampire.
selfie on the phone. I don't use
You're
mirrors.
you're a vampire and you don't have a reflection.
Reflection doesn't show.
I forgot.
Okay, so if you're looking at your hair in the
That's your
mirror,
density. That's your density. Follicles per, call it per square inch, whatever you want. Take a small section, see what you got. Now, of course, on different areas of your head, your density is going to change, right? I mean, if I grew my hair out, there's no density up here, but back here I still have density. But what I'm saying is, you look, that's your density, and then you look at the texture of your hair. And is it that coarse? Is it coarse? Is it fine? Is it what is it? Okay. And then from there, that'll determine what your heat setting is. Because if you have that coarse hair that has the cuticle really, really, really cranked down on it, and how do you find out about the cuticle on your hair? Take a strand of hair, run your finger against the grain, and feel what the cuticle feels like, Eddie.
you know what my next follow-up
I
question.
beat you to the punch, you chooch. Everybody watching, this is the little brother I never wanted. I'm just saying that. But anyway, that's how you find that, and then that'll let you know what your heat setting should be at. Did I miss anything?
No, that was a very well-rounded explanation. Thank you, Sensei John.
You're very welcome. Now grab the pennies, grab the stones from my hand.
Right. So what I do is when a client's always asking me, I get that question asked a lot, especially with flat ironing. So that's really good for the blow dryer, especially for the flat iron. What I'll tend to do is I'll tell somebody, take a section of your hair, pull it straight up, and then put your hand behind it. If you just take a section and you take a section and you pull it up, and you put your hand behind it, if you can see your hand through your hair, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of hair or not. If you can see through it, you have thin, fine hair.
Right.
If you take a section, you pull it up and you cannot see through it, then you've got thicker, coarser hair. Okay. So what happens is when you're flat ironing your hair, you should be at 350 to under 400 degrees, or as low as your flat iron can go sometimes, especially when you're doing the front bangs or the front framing. Okay. Because that hair, generally speaking, you also got to think about this. You're usually styling your hair more often around the front than you are in the back. you're usually highlighting it more to make those, what do they call them? The money pieces, the accent pieces and the things like that. You want
let's call
those
them
the money
accent
shots.
pieces.
What's that?
Stop. Yeah, we'll just call them accent pieces.
Accent piece, whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. Like the yeah. So you do those because you want those to show off more often. Generally speaking, the framing is the most beat up out of all the hair around your head. So that's why you should take more care around the front hairline. You should use lower temperature compared to the rest of your hair, even if you have the same texture going all the way throughout. You also have to factor in what you're doing and what your color is and what your style is as well too. So there is nothing wrong with adjusting that temperature on the flat iron, for example, to do a lower temperature around the front compared to the side, compared to the back. Also, the underneath of your head, underneath your occipital bone, underneath the backbone, doesn't catch as much sunlight naturally as it does the top of your head. So generally speaking, the top of your head is a little more dry or processed or beat up a little bit more. The condition of it is a little worse. So using a lower temperature throughout just off your part comparing to the underside of your hair, you might need a little heavier styling or a little more aggressive heat temperature control, to especially those little, the hairs right behind. Every woman says the same thing. There is a section right behind the ear, and it's that one little section that just kind of hangs there. It drives every woman crazy, right? Yeah. So that little piece of hair might need a little extra hair heat to help control and style that, to keep that into place as well too. So yes, thicker, coarser hair can take more aggressive temperature. You can go 400 to 410. When you start getting into 420 to 450 degree range, the only reason why those temperatures exist are specifically for very specific types of treatments that should be professionally done, those active ingredients and chemicals require a very specific high temperature heat to either burn some of that excess off the hair or to compress that down into the cuticle, because that treatment is a treat. That's the word. It's a treatment. It's trying to specifically do something as a service, professional service to that hair.
Right.
Unfortunately, because of the malls and because of, Amazon and because of just internet, a lot of consumers have access to professional level grade products. In my personal opinion, professional opinion as well, I don't think for home use anybody should have anything that's 1800 watt blow dryer or higher. I just don't think there is a need for that. And that's just my opinion. But I see clients talk about, I'm not going to name any name, I'm not calling out any name brands, but I have clients that come in and say, oh, I just got this thing so-and-so, and I love it. And I'm like, all right, well, bring it in next time. Let me see what it is. And they bring it in, and yeah, sure, they love it. Freaking thing is 2,500 watts. Are you trying to toast bread? What are you trying to do?
On the heating element.
Like, what? It's insane to me, okay? But look, again, I'm not naming any name brands. I'm just saying, for a blow dryer, really consider what it's trying to do and what your purpose is for what you're trying to use it for. Those heat settings matter. It's not just the low airflow, medium airflow, and strong airflow. It's also the heat setting itself too, like you explained. Those three matter, and those two buttons matter. And then, like I said, on the flat iron, those dials matter. Now, on a curling iron, usually a curling iron, some modern curling irons nowadays have a temperature gauge on them, but traditionally speaking, most curling irons just have a dial. It goes 1 to 10. I don't know why that dial exists, because a curling iron only goes to 10. And you just start tapping your finger on it, and when you burn your finger, that's when you know it's done.
Wasn't that when you hold the curl and you feel it? It's your fingers start to burn. It's time to take it off the curl.
That is the only way to use a curling iron. Fight me. I'll change my mind.
Well, since you're talking about air speeds, and we are talking about the Ergo TT2000, it has 2 air speeds, and I don't know if you're aware of this. The first setting is 60 miles an hour airspeed, and the second setting is 80 miles an hour airspeed. Which
the
airflow, yeah, the true speed of the air coming out, and that's and then really think about it is when you put that condenser on, it'll actually, you can really target those air speeds and use them to your advantage, and especially when you're round brushing and really going down the hair shaft, not up the hair shaft, down the hair shaft, and you're really trying to get that thermal styling and that straightening. It's one of the lighter. It's not the lightest. It's one of the lighter dryers on the market too, because I still remember the dryer that I started with. We don't want to mention any names, and it was like blow drying with a brick. That's why I have these shoulders, man.
Yeah, right.
That's why you have neck problems,
10, 15, 10-pound blow dryer catches.
But that was cutting edge technology back then.
And it was amazing.
It was a great,
amazing,
great product for the time. Absolutely. But now, we've progressed so much that these blow dryers are feather light. I mean, when the Ergo dryer accidentally fell into my bag at that show, I don't know what happened. It migrated, it was in your bag and it ended up in my bag.
Yeah, it never came back home with me where it belonged, right?
No. It's perfectly happy here. It's very happy sitting with it has a fellow Ergo flat iron, and they commune inside my station. It's like a little gang.
Right, I got you.
But anyway, what a difference with the lightness of tools too, which we could go for hours on too. You know me, I'm a big Ergo fan. I love that blow dryer. I love the flat iron. And next on my wish list that maybe Santa will bring me is the crimping iron they have too, because that's good. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back.
Dude, that crimping iron is fun as hell. And right in your crown, underneath the top layer of your hair, okay? So there's the occipital bone, which is that strong bone on the back of your head there.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the hair from the top of your head, if you just kind of lift that up and section that off, if you take that hair right there from that bone and you hit it with the crimping iron and you crimp that hair there, and then you just smooth out the layer of hair on top of your head over that, that is the quickest way to create volume in 3 seconds, 5 seconds even. So that's a little tip. That's a little pro stylist tip. Is you just put a little crimp your hair a little bit. Don't go so crazy with it. But if you crimp your hair a little bit underneath, and then if you struggle, if you have thin to medium texture hair, that is a very quick, easy way to create volume and fullness, so you don't feel like it's just always flat on the back of your head over there. Okay.
Right.
If you've got thicker, coarser hair, then volume's not. Well, no, I take it back, because it doesn't matter how much density you have. Everybody wants volume. Everybody wants volume. So but be careful if you have thicker, coarser hair, if you're going to try the crimping iron to create volume like that. Okay.
You're going to make a triangle.
Or like Carmelina says, she's going to look like a Christmas tree.
Or from Saturday Night Live, Gilda Radner, what was her name that she used to do? Rosanna Dana. Remember? So I just to wrap the whole Ergo thing up in a nice package. You cannot go wrong with the Ergo hot tools. Not only will they ergonomically help you body wise, but also in your styling wise, and they're great tools. You can find them at htbbeauty.com. or call the office. What's the office phone number?
847-741-5000.
Yeah. And we can get you hooked up with those, or you can, look on the deep dark web, but make sure that they are reputable. We have to close things off here real quick, my friend. An hour goes by super fast, doesn't it?
Oh,
and
wow.
I want to hit you with a motivational quote today.
Hit me.
First things first, though, before we do that, real quick, America's Beauty Show is coming up. What's our booth number?
1506 1506.
1506. Get your tickets. Come stop by the booth, see us. Second off, we do have a vegan smoothing class. It's coming up this Monday. Am I wrong?
The 26th is Monday. Yeah. Monday. Yeah.
The 26th. This Monday. If you guys haven't purchased tickets for that, look into that for us.
This is your last chance.
Yeah, last chance. It's a hands-on class. You're going to actually get the both of us in the same place at one time. And it should be a fun day. Now, here's my quote for you, my motivational quote for you today. And then I'm going to give some homework and then we'll sign this off. Okay. And it's a simple saying that I actually have a plaque that was given to me. And it says, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. We can't help everyone. You can't help everyone, but everyone can at least help someone.
I like that.
It's a quote. It's a quote that sits on my desk in the shop. So I encourage everyone, and especially all our stylist friends, find someone to help. If it's a young stylist, we help people all day, truly, but take that young stylist and give them a little bit of knowledge. We all have a ton of knowledge in our heads. I really, really am promoting helping the young ones that are coming up in our industry because of the fact of that it's tough. It's tough. It was tough for us. We were beaten. See, they can't be beaten like we were. But so in closing, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And I put my homework for everybody watching: find one person this week and help them. Do an act of kindness. That's all there is. That's all I got for you this week, my friend.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your comments earlier. Leave us another comment. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know how you helped somebody this week with your homework.
Guys, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and we'll be back at you next week. And check out some of our stuff in our library. We're amassing a great library for you. Have a great week. We will see you guys next Friday.